Hi, welcome back to another overthrow disc golf video. If you watched our last video, which was conceptually arming the disc, today I'm going to take you into the practical application of that and how we actually form the whip. Let's get started. So quite simply, the whip is formed by, as we move our disc forward, as we move our hand forward, our arm goes from uncurled. Previously, I would have called this out. I don't think out, in, out is a bad thought process, probably just an elementary or an earlier version of this concept. So I think you probably want to get to the point ultimately in your form where you're thinking about moving the disc forward. After all, this is the most important thing in the sport, right? Is moving this forward. So as you move forward, you will go from uncurled with the body, with the arm. And then as I slide this forward, I will get curled. And this is kind of maximum curl right here, what we also refer to as deep pocket, right? So I get curled here. Well, what happens from here if I continue pushing the disc forward? Well, if I continue moving the disc forward, my arm has no choice, because my elbow can't go any further, my arm has no choice but to uncurl. And it naturally uncurls. We don't have to force it. We just focus on moving the disc forward, and we go through the pocket to this, through this curled position, and then past this curled position, and this uncurl happens. And that, just like when you move a whip or a towel forward and you try to pop it, you focus on popping it forward, and it curls up naturally and uncurls naturally at the end, because you're focused on moving it forward. Okay, so how do we learn this move? Well, I've got a progression for you. So first, start with the disc on your chest. Go ahead and grab kind of around back here. So instead of here, with the hand on, for me as a righty, that's kind of 7 o'clock, we'll say. We're gonna start with it actually on our left side of our chest if you're a righty. Invert that if you're a lefty. So trail, shoulder, and then we're going to move it forward past our right, and then we're gonna continue going directly forward. You might wanna consider having a line down for this. So you'll notice from here that I'm keeping it over this line, and if this was kind of a wall here, I would continue from this point moving it past this. So this is kind of the first move that we have to learn here, is to keep it over this line as it goes forward. So this move with the elbow forward is why pros have their elbow out in front, right? And then there comes a point where your elbow wants to stop going forward. Well, it's important at this point that you continue moving the disc directly forward. So this is the first thing, keeping the disc over the line, moving it directly forward. We get into this move. Fancy terminology, if you just want to whip it out, is horizontal abduction. That means our elbow is going away from the body, from the center line, right? Forward, 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 and then the hand takes over the line. So again, starting here, moving the disc directly over this line, I get to the point where my elbow is as forward along the line as possible, and now this part starts moving behind. This is where the whip is formed, and now my hand takes over the line. So again, here, boom. So you have to learn this move first. By far, this is probably the move that amateurs consistently get wrong, is they get here and then they go out right away. Well, this is not very whip-like. This is just very slingy out and around. That's move number one. Get that down first. Second part of the progression, we're going to start in this one leg position. I'll get you there real quick. We're gonna start on our lead leg, touch the ground here, stand back up, and now we're set up in a nice balanced position. Our back leg's doing its thing properly. And then we're going to coil. Okay, so I'm going to coil and take this disc back down the line. Now my chest is away from my target, you'll notice. And now I'm just gonna work on, from here, I'm gonna actually put my left hand on my chest so that I can see that my shoulders are not moving. And now I'm essentially throwing behind me. My elbow goes as far as it can go. for the most part, and then the hand takes over. So we're going to learn it from back here with a little length and swing. Now, eventually you can throw that after you've practiced that, again, keeping the chest still. It's not going to be perfectly straight. That's okay. The feeling that you want is that you're throwing the disc behind you and that your arm is getting a very full swing. So again, this is forcing a full swing with the arm, and also if you throw behind you, it forces your arm to be curled up here. And if you continue moving forward and trying to hit the net behind you or whatever your target is behind you, it's gonna force your arm to keep going and uncurl. So you should feel this little pocket here before your hand starts whipping out. So from the side, it might look like this. Here, forced to go out. One more time. Once you've got that, we're ready for the next part. So the previous part of the drill was to get independence of the hand and get a full swing with the hand. You might have noticed that by the time you get here, it's actually the chest is kind of, since it's so far back, is almost pulling the hand backwards and making it harder for the hand to go. That's not ideal when the disc wants to move fast, the hand wants to move fast, right? So now that we've trained the hand to be independent of the shoulders and to have a swing without being pushed forward by the shoulders, we want to have them work in unison, and they work in unison in this way. You can feel, if you start here, that the chest naturally wants to turn to allow the disc in the hand to pass by. Now we're going to get to a point where we allow that to happen. Don't force the chest to turn, but we're going to allow the chest to turn so that the disc can get through cleanly. That will put you roughly here by the time the disc hits. Again, if we're pushing with the chest, we'll probably end up in this position because it's just going to keep pushing and keep getting after it. If we allow the chest to move to let the hand pass, you're probably going to end up about here, which is where most pros end up when they're at release. So good sign. Now let me go through it with you. So I'm going back. Instead of having my hand on my chest, I'm going to let it be loose and natural. And then I'm going to throw behind me still. Correct. I did stop there at the end just to kind of show you my chest position at the end. What you want to actually do is allow the chest to keep going forward afterwards into the follow through if it wants to go forward. So the important thing here is that you can feel and distinguish the fact, are my shoulders pushing the disc forward, or are they working to not slow down the disc? Are they working to make sure that that hand can just go? At this point, you can actually throw pretty quick with this as long as you're remembering to let your body follow through at the end like it wants to. So let me throw a couple, kind of getting after it a little bit. A little rocky rock. Of course, I'm not a perfect example. You should go watch some slow-mo form from some pros and see, okay, what are they doing exactly? Kind of get that in your mindset, but that's good enough to get you started and going. So there you have it. That is a very simple, very basic progression where I take people from all body, no hand, to all hand, zero body, to, okay, hand going, passing the body, but the body not yanking it backwards. So I hope that helps. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing and all that jazz. If you haven't, it'd be cool if you did. Peace.